Hey everyone, it's Ash from Super Videos. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into Eminem's latest album, The Death of Slim Shady. Before we get started, I want to make a quick disclaimer. This is not a lyrical breakdown video. If you're looking for in-depth lyrical analysis, there are amazing channels out there like Knox Hill, Stevie Knight, Crypt, and many more. Be sure to check them out. So stay tuned, we'll be right back with my review of The Death of Slim Shady. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. Let's jump right in. First off, the rollout for this project has been insanely good and cool. Each teaser, each reveal was a slow burn that built up hype like crazy. This is something we've been missing in recent Eminem projects, which have often been surprise drops like Kamikaze and Music to be Murdered By, Side A and B. Fans definitely appreciated this build-up, making the album experience so much more enjoyable. The concept of the album is intriguing and crazy good. From what I've gathered, the plot revolves around a big face-off between Eminem and his alter ego, Slim Shady. So Shady is back with some controversial, provocative, and crazy lyrics, trying to get Eminem cancelled. Throughout the album, Eminem is pleading with Slim to stop, even challenging and battling him to halt his destructive ways. It seems like he's successful and kills Shady by the end, only for him to resurrect. But by the time he's back, nobody really cares about Shady anymore. Cool concept, right? Another angle teased is that Shady's return is all a bad dream of Eminem. Also, of course, near the end, Shady is gone, and a more mature and introspective Eminem takes over, to think about his past in a retrospective way, and to really put things into perspective as far as his journey. And I think it hits a home run with the theme of the album regarding exposing Shady's toxicity and how he doesn't belong here anymore. Now let's talk about the production and beat selection. I absolutely love the production and beat choices. This album has some of the best beat selections in an Eminem album in quite a while. The Dr. Dre produced tracks were especially awesome. As far as Eminem's lyrical abilities, he's still the rap god. It's insane. In terms of flow, he seems to have purposefully stayed away from fast delivery and supersonic speed rapping, only doing it in small bits here and there. And I think it worked really well. This album didn't need a rap god or Godzilla type delivery. Eminem's clever wordplay is top tier as always, with some insane doubles right off the gate that carries on throughout the album. Some solid comic relief lines that we could have expected from Shady, emotional tracks that peel through and break apart his past, and tons of well-placed shoutouts and disses. It's like he gave us a bit of everything. A bit of Shady, a bit of Eminem, and a bit of Marshall for some of the more personal tracks. So let's dive into my favorite tracks in no particular order. Renaissance. Loved his flow and delivery, reminiscent of that 2000 Shady sound. He cleverly mentions hot topics like Kendrick's album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Lil Wayne and Joyner's albums. Even J. Cole's Might Delete Later gets a shout out. Some say Kendrick and J. Cole were actually dissed. What I say is listen again, cause they are definitely shout outs and there are no disses here towards any of those artists. But like I said, very smart to mention those two specifically, with Might Delete Later by J. Cole and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar, due to the crazy K-Dot and Drake beef train that we're on right now. Without actually saying anything though, like there's no mention of the Kendrick and Drake beef, which I think was intentional to tease fans. Drake isn't mentioned anywhere, and nothing more about Kendrick either. And I think he's gonna stay out of it, similar to how he stayed out of the Nas and Jay-Z beef, even though he was asked about it at one point in the past. I think the mention of Kendrick and J. Cole here is purposeful to make fans wonder about his opinions on all of that. I honestly don't think that he'll take sides, since Kendrick is on his team and he's said in interviews that Drake will always be in his good graces because of something that he did for Eminem's daughter. So he's likely gonna stay neutral.
Drake is always gonna be in my good graces because he did something for one of my daughters that I'll never forget, and he will always be in my graces with that. And I like Drake.
Next track is Habits. Cool track with a crazy good hook by White Gold. The flow dragged a bit, but the concept and lyrics were on point. Next, Brand New Dance, catchy with a hook and beat that screamed 2000s Eminem. It felt like a mashup of Just Lose It and Ass Like That. It was actually an encore throwaway track that got remastered and redone a bit. There are certain points where you can actually hear, it's hard, but you can hear the new Eminem doing some words or doing a line here and there, but it was still cool. He went hard at Christopher Reeves, which would be out of pocket if this was a new track. Like, it's random, right? It makes no sense. But it's not a new track. It's still sort of wild that he brought this in, given the situation with Christopher Reeves. So it's definitely an interesting choice to do this, but it's still fire. Next is Evil. It's a nice track, but it's missing Royce da 5'9". The hook was well done and the beat goes hard, but I feel like we needed a feature with someone like Royce in this track. Next, Lucifer and Antichrist. Cool tracks. They go hard, but they're not my favorites. Bizarre's feature was a surprise on Antichrist and actually worked really, really well. And the beat switch with Bizarre coming in was executed to perfection. Antichrist actually goes dumb at certain points with the delivery and the super crazy flow. Next is Fuel. This is easily one of my favorite tracks off of the album, like top 3 for sure. Eminem and Jid are crazy on this track. Their flow, delivery, and cadence were top notch. Personally, I think that Jid washed Eminem, or at least it was really close. But that's just my opinions. Eminem snapped on it too, but everyone's got their own opinions. I think that it was close, but I think that Jid took it. Next is Houdini, even though it was released a while back, but you can't deny that it had a crazy energy with a nostalgic feel and a phenomenal music video. So this is easily my top 3 on the album as well. Of course, Tobey was a dope track too. The music video on that was pretty cool too, but I wouldn't really put that in my top 5 or anything like that. Next up is Guilty Conscience 2. Nice touch switching it up to Eminem and Shady instead of Dre and Eminem. Really well executed conceptually. Would have loved Dre on it, but oh well, I guess we win some and we lose some. Next up is Head Honcho featuring Easy Mill. This track was really good. Easy Mill snapped on it and Eminem goes hard, but I think Eminem got the upper hand, but it was definitely a dope track. Next up is Temporary featuring Skylar Grey and also Somebody Save Me featuring Jelly Roll. Both are dedicated to his daughter Hailie with snippets of tapes between them, reminiscent of Mockingbird and When I'm Gone. And I absolutely enjoyed these 2 tracks. Very emotional, very deep. They were actually similar to A Rose and Castle off of Revival. I wouldn't say they were copy-paste, but they were definitely conceptually similar. But they were still impactful nevertheless, and they were still 2 pretty solid tracks. There's like 19 tracks and 12 are my favorites. There are 2 skits too, keep that in mind, but those are even fire. Like, it's all fire. It's so good. It's safe to say that I thoroughly enjoyed the album, but let me step out of my stanness a little bit. I'm just kidding, stans. You know I love you, but anyway, let me step into some criticisms too. My least favorite tracks. Bad One, Road Rage, and even Trouble to an extent. Like, the beats were good, the lyrics were clever, but I just didn't like the flow. Some of it was sloppy, some of it was choppy, and it just lacked the energy that I feel like this album needed. These were songs that fit well with like Revival or Music to be Murdered By, but they didn't really fit in terms of this particular project. But one of the things to keep in mind is that this album probably has great replay value. Some tracks I didn't enjoy initially became favorites after several lessons. So those that I didn't like might end up being ones I listen to over and over again later on. There were some disses in there too. P. Diddy probably got the worst of the jabs, which he definitely deserved. Eminem went soft on him though, if you ask me. But it was still a pretty heavy diss towards Diddy. And not just on one track, I think he was mentioned on 2 tracks. MGK got it again too, thanks to his sneak diss that got him back on Eminem's shit list. And of course, Benzino and Ja Rule got this too. Expected, but still entertaining. One thing missing from the album though was features from OGs and other new rappers that fans wanted to hear. There's no Dre, no Snoop Dogg, no Royce, no 50 Cent, which was surprising. Some of these features were even rumored and somewhat confirmed, so their absence was a big surprise. There's no J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar either, so that's definitely a disappointment. Newer artists like Denzel Curry would have been cool on here since Jid and Easy Mail were on it. None of that. There are rumors of a side B, like Music to Be Murdered By though, which might include these features. That would be fantastic. That would be epic. But it's not confirmed, and at this point, we have to wait for official information before we start speculating. Before we wrap up though, I did check out the bonus tracks, Like My Shit and Kyrie and Luca, featuring 2 Chainz. I enjoyed both of them. The flow and lyrics and the beat on Like My Shit was pretty cool, but the beat on Kyrie and Luca was insane. It's funny that 2 Chainz ended up on a bonus track again, just like he did with the Chloroseptic remix off of Revival. Just something interesting that I noticed that I wanted to put out there. But that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on the death of Slim Shady in the comments below. Share your favorites, your least favorites, and what you think about no features or lack of features on the album. And let me know if you think we're gonna get a side B. Before we end this video, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.